Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my token Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for September 2019. I feel like it's been a good while since I last updated the token deck, which, for those of you that haven't seen the previous token deck profiles, is a deck that is comprised mainly of cards that are meant to just special summon out a bunch of different tokens and then either use those tokens to either swing to your opponent for some pretty big numbers that you can get with the deck, or use them for extra deck link summons, which are very, very helpful with all the different tokens we can have in this deck that can easily swarm the field with fodder to use for your cards. I figured an update was due for the deck as well, since Scapegoat is at 1 and I haven't updated the deck since the card was put to 1, so I figured why not. Let's update the deck also with just a few other cards that definitely do help, just with the consistency of keeping your tokens on the field and being the main card you use to defeat your opponent with those cards. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the monsters, we are running 3 Scapegoat. With this one, you can special summon any number of Black Sheep tokens, Zombie, Dark level 1, attack and defense when this card is flipped. So basically, I just set up the Scapegoat for my opponent to attack into it, and whether if they have more monsters on the field or not, it either gives them more monsters to attack into and more protection for you, or if they only attack with the one monster, it gives you the option to just have those goats to use for an extra deck summon, and then clear up your field with that link monster you make, and then have more room for more tokens to special summon onto the field. It is a tuner if you wanted to try some synchros in the extra deck as well. I decided to stick mostly just for the link plays, but you do have options for a bunch of different level synchro monsters if you wanted to run in the extra deck, just because of the fact that you can get so many leveled monsters out on the field with your tokens. And I also run 3 Cosmic Compass. When this card is normal summon, you can special summon a number of Compass tokens on the field, up to the number of monsters your opponent controls. So this one plays more off the fact that your opponent's plays, giving you plenty of tokens to work with if your opponent summons out a lot of monsters. So obviously better if you go second with this card, and then Scapegoat being better if you go first, of course. But just more and more to work with, plus with Scapegoat and Cosmic Compass also being level 1s, you have the options to go into your Link Haribo, which just needs a level 1 monster. So it's very, very useful to have answers with these cards on the field as well. And also, if your opponent obviously effect failures them, having another Link option to go into the extra deck, since you won't obviously have your token plays with these cards. And lastly, for the monsters, we don't really run too many monsters in this deck. We focus more just on the spell cards for the token summon, but I do run 1 Performer Pal Hippo, since one of our main token creation spells is Super Hippo Carnival, which gives us a Hippo from anywhere in the deck. So I like to run the 1 of this card just to have that additional extra monster to summon out to the field. It's a good option, just giving us this for that plus monster. So I just like to run the 1 of it. It's all you need with the Super Hippo Carnivals. And like I said, that's it for the monsters. It's a small monster lineup, just all things that either generate tokens or go off of other tokens being summoned out. But moving on to the spells, the 1 Lone Scapegoat. It's a really good card. I obviously knew why it got hit on the list a good while back. I don't really think we'll see it anytime soon, just for how great of a fodder it is for link plays, but still very, very strong in this deck as well. Giving you the 4 tokens, I always like to activate at the end of my opponent's turn, so I can have tokens to use for summons during my turn, or just as a defensive barrier like a lot of the token cards for the quick play spells in the deck, giving you the option to summon out those tokens to use in any way you prefer. And for the Hippo cards, I run the 3 Hippo Carnival. This gives you 3 Hippo tokens on the field, but they cannot be tributed, and you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck while a Hippo token is in the monster zone. And after this card is activated, your opponent cannot target monsters for attack for the rest of this turn except Hippo tokens. So if you already have the extra deck monsters out on the field, just another added bonus to protect them with your Hippo Carnival tokens. But just remember that your opponent may restrict attacking the Hippo tokens if it means you can't get to your extra deck, but obviously they'll have to get around the tokens eventually for them to summon them out. So I like to run the 3 of this card along with 3 Super Hippo Carnival. The fact that these cards are quick plays are another added reason why I really do love them in the token deck, just being able to give you plenty of protection options. And also, this one is the one that special summons the Hippo from your hand, deck, or graveyard, so you only need the 1, because once you special summon it again, you don't really want to draw into it, and even if you do draw into it, you can still special summon it from your hand. It just sucks sometimes because it's a 1, minus card from your hand since you have to special summon it out to the field, but it also gives you the Hippo tokens, and you can special summon as many of them, so if there are other tokens already on the field, it definitely does come in handy a lot more than Hippo Carnival, which needs to summon out the 3 Hippo tokens to the field. And I also run 2 one-time passcode, another great token card. It's really helpful just for the fact that it doesn't really restrict you with your summon plays when you use this card. So you can easily go into a bunch of different extra deck monsters to help you out with the deck. I run a few boss link monsters which need effect monsters, which we'll get to when we go over the extra deck, or just, effect monsters in general. So having the one-time passcode as a quick option to get into your extra deck definitely does come in handy. I want to run the 2 of, though, for the fact that they only give you 1 token. So having the Super Hippo Carnivals and Scapegoats and Scapegoat and Cosmic Compass for more of the token options, I'd say, is an added benefit, but one-time passcode can always just be that 1 token you are short of making a pretty good extra deck play. And then for a little more added support, for draw power, I'm running 3 supply squads. With this one, once per turn, if a monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, draw 1 card. So as long as you control a token, your opponent destroys it, you'll get that draw. It doesn't have to go to the graveyard or anything like that for supply squad, which is why I definitely do like to have enough play power with this card. Keeping your hand consistent if you need more and more tokens to go through as well. So it's an added benefit when you can ever have a successful play with this card. And I also run 2 Seal of Orichalcos. I run a few cards just to either bump up the attack of the tokens on the field or just to play to my opponent's advantage, so I can take advantage of their plays basically with this card. Having a higher attack for my monsters, and once per turn this card cannot be destroyed by card effects, so added protection for this field spell. And while I control 2 or more monsters, my opponent cannot attack the lower attack for an attack. And when this card is activated, I destroy all special summon monsters I control, and I cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. And you can only activate the Seal of Orichalcos once per turn. So it stops the extra deck plays, but I still like it for that power boost along with some of the other cards as well. And I can still have the option to go into my tokens, since I'm only limited to special summoning from the extra deck with this card. And obviously with this comes 1 Terraforming being 1 on the ban list as well. Just another easy search to go for this card in the deck also. And we're running plenty of tokens that really don't have much attack power benefit-wise, so I am running 3 Creature Swap, because nothing better than just giving your opponent a token, which obviously they can use for a Link Summon, but you're not going to let that happen. You're going to give them the token, and they're going to make sure they give you something that is guaranteed better than just a solo token for the field for you to use, obviously, against your opponent. So 3 Creature Swap definitely does help whenever I have the tokens on my field. Like I said, as long as your opponent has a monster, it's definitely better than just a low-power token on the field. But to help bump up those tokens on the field, I'm also running 3 United We Stand. I can get 5 tokens on the field very, very easily with this deck, and the equipped monster gains 800 attack and defense for each face-up monster I control. That's a big number of attack along with the Seal of Orichalcos, so I can hit for some big numbers against my opponent, or even better, if I creature swap, take their bigger monster and equip it with United We Stand, give them the attack position token, swing into that token, and most of the time it can be for a pretty big amount of game for sure. And I also run the 1 Moonmere Shield. Now, if you didn't want to run the Seal of Orichalcos, you could try mixing in some other spells like Mage Power or Moonmere Shield as the added cards to take out for these 3 spots. Adding in Moonmere Shield, it just gives you that boost for any of your monsters to defeat any of your opponent's monsters, no matter the attack. So I like it as that 1 of. United We Stand most of the time with all the different tokens I summon out. It can really take care of a lot of those cards as well, but it's just another added equip option for my opponents. And I also run 3 Cosmic Cyclone. It's a great quick play spell for the deck, just for the fact that back row can really kill this deck, especially if my opponent stops my token special summoning. So being able to clear that back row, especially with this card, I don't really pay life with anything else in the deck. So this option is a added benefit for me to just clear the back row and then go nuts with my token plays. And I also run the 1 Mini Guts. For those who don't know what this card does, you tribute 1 monster to target 1 face-up monster on the field your opponent controls. Its attack becomes 0. Until the end phase this turn, when this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack in the graveyard. So with the United We Stand play, just the added boost in attack against that monster can mean more damage for hopefully a win against your opponent as well when you go up against them. And you're swinging with a big United We Stand monster or a big token, you name it. And more board clearing with my opponent. I run one Raigeki, just clearing out my opponent's monsters, giving me a bunch of tokens on the field, is the true powerhouse of this card, especially since one of our traps boosts up the attack of our tokens, making them much more stronger. So knowing my opponent's whole board is clear means that I'm free to go wild against them with all the different scapegoats, cosmic tokens, you name it, on the field. And then for the traps, I run 3 Token Stampede. Tokens in attack position gain 1,000 attack and cannot be destroyed by battle. So this is a great trap card to use along with the next one as well, just for basically invincible tokens. And the added bonus, if you have multiples of these cards, just keep on stacking them up and up. And more strong as well with United We Stand. And the fact that they're protected by battle, and the fact that I like to run 3 Spirit Barrier, just adds to the fact that my opponent really can't do anything unless they use card effects to get rid of the tokens. But as long as I control a monster, any battle damage I take becomes 0. So basically with this, you have more and more protection with this card on the field. So it definitely does help against your opponent. And the fact that we can have some really weak tokens on the field if we don't have our Token Stampede set up as well. So this just adds as an active backup against my opponent when all I have are, tokens on the field. And that was it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. It really feels like I've said token a lot in this video, even though it is the main focus of the deck. But I run 2 Link Kuriboh. Level 1 monsters are the sole purpose of this deck with all the tokens we run. But just needing a level 1 monster to make Link Kuriboh means that it's an easy Link monster to make use of, and one to keep reviving from the graveyard as well to use. So I really am a fan of this card in the deck. Might even bump it up to 3. If I were to do that, I would take out one of the Link Spiders, but just needing a normal monster with this card gives me options to get 2 effect monsters on the field, which are big effect monster that we run. For power plays, needs effect monsters to summon it out, so I like to run the 2 Link Spiders nonetheless. I also run 1 Nightmare Cerberus, and here is Nightmare Phoenix. You just need 2 monsters with different names, so as long as they have the different names, easy enough. It's another reason why I like to get Link Spider out. If I have all the same tokens on the field, I can use the Link Spider and one of the tokens to summon out these monsters. I also run 1 Underclock Taker. You do need effect monsters to make it, but once again, very easy with a lot of our Link plays we can do. And I also run 1 Security Dragon, 1 Mrs. Radiant, and 2 Wee Witch's Apprentice. You can mix and match what you find the best. I run the 2 Wee Witch's Apprentice for the fact that Scapegoats gives us those tokens, and the Hippos, you can't summon with them, so you really can't use them to the fullest with Mrs. Radiant as well. And also I run 1 Proxy Dragon, 1 Space Insulator, and 1 Gaia Saber. They're all just generic monster ones. They don't restrict tokens, so another good option for those cards. And for our powerhouse, I'm running 1 Borolo Dragon. You can make this. You need effect monsters to make it, obviously, but you have plenty of the effect monsters if you use them, and just the different Link monsters we have in the extra deck to go into Borolo Dragon, which definitely is, like I said, a needed card just to have a big monster to go up against your opponent. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I definitely recommend giving this deck a shot. It's a lot of fun to play and very fun to troll friends with as well. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.